Hello, my name is Anne DeSantis. I'm the director for the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. I want to tell you what's been going on with us since we've been in existence in 2015. The Mercedarian friars came together and decided that they wanted to start a foundation to make outreach to families in crisis. And that's exactly what they did when the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation came into existence as a nonprofit 501c3 headquartered in Philadelphia. Since that time, I became the director in the beginning of 2018, and we basically have 4 facets to what we do. We offer prayer, priestly consultations, podcasts and videos, and also programs and events. Now, if you've never been to our website, just to invite you to go to nonatus.org and check out all the great things that we've been doing. Because since that time, since we've been in existence, we've now helped hundreds of families who are going through really challenging times. And as you all know, we went through a really challenging time in 2020. So I'd just like to invite you to go and check out the great things that we're doing. And there's more to come. If you or your church community would like us to come and do some type of an event where we can talk about what we offer in terms of that pastoral accompaniment and making outreach to families in crisis, please do reach out to us. And I'm just so grateful to be able to serve people like you and your families. So again, learn about us at nonatus.org. Thank you.
Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry present Journeys in Faith. Now, here's Anne DeSantis.
Hello, and welcome to Journeys in Faith here on this Friday evening on Fiat Ministry Network. I want to thank our producers for doing a great job with producing this show every single Friday night. It's 8:30 to 9. And on this evening, I have an amazing guest. I have Liz Montigny, and I would like to read you her bio, get to know her a little bit. So Liz Montigny coaches Catholic women to go from daily chaos to simplicity so they can love life. She is a licensed Ziglar Life Coach, wife and mom to 3 boys. Tea, big earrings, living a non-toxic lifestyle, and creative evangelization are some of her loves. You can find out more about her at lizmontignycoaching.com. Now, I also want to thank her because I was a guest on her podcast as well. So Liz, welcome to Journeys in Faith.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It's so good to see you again, Anne.
Oh, it's so great to see you again as well, because I just love your story and I love the work that you're doing. So why don't we start out with you as a wife, as a mom? I know you have 3 boys, and we'd love to just hear more about you and about your family and your faith.
Yes, absolutely. So we live in Massachusetts. Like you said, I have a husband and 3 boys. We love going to the Latin Mass. So that is a beautiful thing. And actually homeschool one of our boys because that's just better for him. So we dove back into that again. And I'm a cradle Catholic, but I think as Catholics, we're always we're always growing and changing in our faith. And I think just with age and time, I've come to really get to know the Holy Spirit a bit more. And that's been a beautiful thing.
Yes, it really is. And as I interviewed you before, I learned a little bit about you and your work and your ministry. And you're just a really all around like joyful, positive, and really faith-filled person.
Thank you.
And you're really a gift too. And I love how you balance between your being a wife and mother and also your faith and also this great work that you're doing as a coach.
Yes.
So now tell us a little bit, if you could, also about your early faith, because obviously you are a person of, deep Catholic faith that celebrates the sacraments and loves God, and your whole family does celebrates together. Was it always that way for you? Or did you have a moment of kind of conversion or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm a cradle Catholic. My mother was just a very strong woman of faith, and she really instilled that in all of us. It's interesting. My dad, he was Baptist, and he converted to Catholicism at 79. So we all got to go to his confirmation, which was really fun. So, my faith has been a huge part of my life. For my whole life. There's definitely been moments where, I wasn't living my faith as well as I could. And I think that's just part of being a younger person. I was in my 20s and 30s and things were going on, and I wasn't putting God first. And then when I really started to look for my husband, if you will, and think about a family, I realized how important it is to have a partner who is the same faith as you, because it does matter. And I used to keep telling myself, it's not a big deal. It'll be fine. But it was a big deal. So that made all the difference when I put that first in looking for, my future husband. And then ever since, my husband, John, he was actually going to Latin Mass before I'd never been. So he, I was like, well, I'll try it out. And for a while, I just sat there and listened and watched. And then eventually, it grows. So it's really, my Catholic faith is a huge part of my life. And I had to bring it into my coaching because of that. I couldn't separate the two.
Yeah, I'm really amazed at what you do, because I learned a lot about it because you and I actually had a session, and you were a guest on the podcast, I was a guest on your podcast.
Yes.
And now you're a guest here on Journeys in Faith. And I also want to mention you'll be a guest on Sowing Hope too, the other podcast that I do with Bill Snyder with Patchwork Heart Ministry.
Yes.
So looking forward to that as well. Now, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about what you do with the coaching, which is the Ziglar Life Coaching. It's really an incredible journey, I think, that people take to learning about themselves. But a lot of it is goal setting too, right? And we can do that towards our faith too. What things that you want to do or change about yourself having to do with your practice of faith. Yeah. So tell us, how did you get into this? Because I think it's just really fascinating.
Yeah, I love what I do. It's such a gift to me. I mean, not only are my clients transforming their lives, but I just get so inspired by my clients. So it's really fun. I got into it because basically I found myself trying to live this life of hustle, and I was getting really tired and burnt out, and needed to figure out a better way to balance my family and the work that I wanted to do. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I've always wanted to have my own business or do something that's mine. And when I was trying to do that in managing my family, it got too crazy. And a lot of the times when we hear about moms or women building their own business and having a family, all you hear about is, oh, gotta hustle, gotta do this, gotta do that. And that just wasn't my way. And I found for a lot of women, that is a lot of pressure and not realistic. And so I had to find a better way to do what I was doing, because I knew I couldn't continue with the late nights and being cranky with the kids and not, being fun to be around. So I really looked to find another way. And a lot of that just came with diving into personal development. And what I found in that journey of discovery of just myself and what success means to me and how to put it all together is a big part of that was my faith life, and I wasn't putting that first. And then when I went to look for coaches, I kept running into people who weren't aligned in my faith, and that was a problem for me. And so I really did see a need for women, Catholic women, to have somebody that they can relate to and speaks the same language on all those things. And so I made the decision that I was really going to niche down to helping Catholic women.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I know that you're meeting so many people and you're helping so many people, but you're learning too, aren't you? I mean, you're learning so much about how everyone, what makes them tick, isn't something a little bit different, like the goals. Everybody has kind of different goals. I mean, and you're mentioning Catholic women. Now, I think you mentioned to me that you also might have clients, or you're open to clients outside of just Catholic women, or maybe you can talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the principles and what I help people coach through and their vision and their goals. And really, I should pause for a second and say that coaching is really about where you are right now and where you want to be. It's not therapy. It's not working through things in the past. If that stuff does come up, we accept that it happened because it's a fact and we can't, go and rewind and change things. So we talk about now and in the future. And so it's a lot of goal setting, it's a lot of vision work, but done in a really practical way, taking it step by step. And it's really just dropping a bad habit for a good habit and making intentional choices. So yes, so the principles, I happen to be a Catholic businesswoman, but these principles apply to anybody. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you're coming from. I just feel that if I'm putting myself out there as I can help anyone, then sometimes you end up talking to nobody,
Yes, yeah. So it's like that target market focus, a little bit of more of a focus, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so, well, you're in the right place because I mean, this is Fiat Ministry Network. It is where we say yes to Jesus Christ. I mean, that's what this network is all about. So, so you're in the right place to talk about that. But we do have to take a short break. So stay with us because when we come back, Liz and I are going to talk a lot more about her Ziglar Life Coaching. See you in a few minutes.
Today, many students go to college with numerous questions about their faith, yearning to know if the seed planted in them as a child is both true and practical. Using the miracle on the road to Emmaus as a model, young adult ministers conversed weekly for 3 months with college students about the most pressing questions they had about the Catholic faith. As they journeyed together virtually, something amazing happened. Doubts disappeared, fears faded, and Jesus revealed that He is still alive. Hearts Burning Within Us, the latest book from Patchwork Heart Ministry, is a result of that grace-infused conversation. It is the perfect back-to-school gift for recent high school graduates and current college students. Get your copy for them today at patchworkheart.org or by calling 424-704-3278. That's 424-704-3278.
Welcome back to Journeys in Faith. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fiat Ministry Network, where I'm talking with Liz Montigny. She's a Catholic wife, mother, and also does Ziglar Life Coaching, which is what we were talking about during the first half of this show. So for somebody who's just tuning in now, Liz, can you tell us a little bit would you give a definition for what Ziglar Life Coaching is?
Sure. So if you may have heard of him, Zig Ziglar. He was a motivational speaker, author. He worked for decades. He's since passed, but his son Tom has, taken up his legacy, and they train life coaches. They do business coaching. Tom's an author himself. There's a huge podcast that's really amazing called The Ziglar Show. So you know, his principles and his ideas have really been around for decades. And that's what I love about it. You know, they're proven, they're repeatable, and they're reliable. And really what it centers around, my life coaching is just changing that bad habit to a good habit so that you can live intentionally and reach these goals in a relatable, you know, I know I was guilty of this when I would always goal set, and I would set a huge goal in a very short amount of time and then get really upset when I didn't hit it. And so I really encourage people that I work with, you know, we're taking this step by step. What's realistic? When can you, you know, complete this? And then I keep them accountable along the way. And really, we work through all different parts of your life: mindset, faith, even finances, career, family, relationships. I mean, all of it. It's all a holistic piece. So we just dive deep into all those areas of your life and just help you be intentional and give you hope and empowerment with your choices.
It's awesome. And I love how you combine, as you said, Catholic women. This can be combined together, meaning piecing together those areas of your life that you would like to improve. You know, it's, and when you add faith to that, because you're a person of faith and you're combining that together with what you're doing with this mission of coaching, I think it's going to be very refreshing for a lot of the clients that you have. Now, in your bio, you mentioned about loving life, you know, and let's face it, sometimes as Catholics, we know that there's suffering involved. There is, you know, some renunciation, lifting things up, and there's pain. Let's face it. I mean, there is pain. And sometimes we hear within our faith that we should avoid that whole idea of like that power of positive thinking. Not to say that it doesn't have some relevance. I think it does, because, you know, our faith really is a positive thing. But I think what you're doing is you're combining that whole idea of that, you know, fixing things in your life with God's help, right? With the grace of the Holy Spirit. That's a holy thing. That's a good thing. That isn't just about like waving a magic wand and making your life better, right? I mean, it takes some work and some discipline too. So I don't know if you could talk a little bit about that, because I don't think personally, on a personal level, that there's anything wrong with saying something like learning to love your life. You know, in scripture, we might read that, you know, unless you hate your life, you know, that kind of thing. But I think it has a different connotation that we think. You know, when we love our life with God, that's much different than loving it without him, right?
Right,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, and what I see it as loving life, I came up with that because what I found on my journey through hustling and trying to do all the things and family and all this is I wasn't really being present. So I wasn't enjoying the moment I was in. And really, God asks us to be present, you know? I mean, all we can really do is affect the present and, you know, work on the future. You know, past is done. So the other thing that I just was personally running into, and I hear it with my clients as well, is you just get to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, you get to a point where you're just stuck and you're like, I know God has more for me, but it's not this. And I don't know how to get there. So I could use some help. And that's the women that I'm talking to, is they know there's more, and they know deep down, they know they can do it, but maybe they need to borrow that belief from me. Maybe they just need an encourager along the way. And a lot of times they just need the guidance of, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you're there. And I think that's important, to not put so much pressure on, you know, changing your life. And it's just, the transformation comes along the journey. It's not instantaneous. And
that's a
just
good
embrace
point.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Another part in your bio mentions, and I thought maybe you could just unpack this a little bit, because I am a proponent of this too, is that non-toxic lifestyle. Now, I know that there can be a spiritual toxicity, right? But
Right.
there's also things in our environment too. Talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is just a choice that we made as a family to it's really, when I think of that, I think of clean living.
Mm,
But I also think of it in terms of, if you are making faith a big part of your life, that helps you a lot in terms of non-toxic mindset, right? Because you know who the author of truth is, and that's God. But in terms of what I define that in my bio as saying is just living, trying to live as clean as possible. It's not always easy in this world. With our food choices, with our product choices, and it just, when we were going through some troubles with one of our sons, he was having some skin problems and some other things. When we cleaned up and just went more pure with the products that we brought into our home and what we were eating, we saw a big change in him. And so that was an eye opener for us. And so, once you kind of learn about all that stuff, you can't go back,
yes.
Once
Oh.
so you just, I'm glad I found made some good choices, and we can stick to them.
Well, you and I have something in common there too. I do the same thing in terms of food and also products and cleaning and,
Yes.
all those things.
All
I
that.
think it just all adds up for a better health.
Absolutely.
And, God does want us to be healthy, doesn't he? I mean,
Mhm.
there is a suffering that comes with life, but I don't think he wants it to be a self-inflicted one,
Yes.
if that
Yes,
makes sense. Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, I would like to, before we end this show, is tell us like, okay, somebody's watching and they're thinking, I would like to talk to Liz. I want to make an appointment. Now, I know because you did this with me, is you do a free, like a complimentary consult, which is
Yeah,
really great. You spent like an hour with me, and I
I
thought that
did.
was an amazing thing. So
Yeah.
tell us, like, somebody's watching, what would be those steps? And then if they did decide they wanted to work with you, like, how often would it be and what can they expect over that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yes, like Anne said, just go to my website. You can go to lizmontignycoaching.com. My calendar, client application, it's all there. Just fill it out, and we'll pick a mutual date that works best for us. But basically, I offer a complimentary, what I call a strategy session, like where we're trying to figure out the next right step for you. So what's the best strategy for you? And we take 45 minutes to an hour, and it's really just time for you to tell me where you are now and where you want to go. And if we're the right fit for each other, we'll figure all that out. But if we're not, I'll still give you the right path for you to go on. And I love those calls because usually people that are on that call have never done something like that before, and they've never talked about themselves for a full hour and what they want out of life. And so it can really be eye-opening for them just in that 45, 60 minutes. And I love just hearing about what people want and how they want to make an impact in the world. It's such a beautiful thing. So yeah, the easiest thing is just go to my website and do all that. And then also get on my email list, because I have a monthly free workshop that I do. So if it's, a topic that you like, just hop in there on the Zoom. It's great. And I just send out some inspirational and uplifting emails weekly too, and no spam. So yeah, that's the easiest thing. And then if it does turn out we're a good fit, it's pretty simple. We do Zoom. We do like this for each week. It's about 12 weeks. And so that ends up being about 3 months. And it's just a weekly call. You have homework to do. I keep you accountable. And like I said, we're taking it step by step. And so over those weeks, we're able to dive in deep into that mindset, that spiritual piece, the physical piece. All these things are connected. And yeah, like I said, those calls end up being really inspiring for me. So why not take advantage of that consultation? So.
Yes. Again, I'll say that I really would promote and, tell our viewers here to please do go on that website and make that appointment. You have nothing to lose to make the appointment.
Exactly.
So at lizmontigny.com
Yes.
and learn more. Now, Liz, was there anything that's coming up this year, coming up at the end of this year or early 2022 that you want to share with our audience?
Oh, yes, thank you. So I have a blog, a guest blog coming up on Blessed is She. So if anybody's following that, keep an eye out for that. And like I said, Tuesday, December 7th will be my next free workshop. And it's really going to be a workshop. I'm changing them up a little bit. It's not going to be a webinar where I'm just talking to you. So really come on and plan to do a little work with me on just kind of burnout, this time of year when we feel like we need to do all the things, when really Advent is about reflection and penance and those things, is just how to balance everything that's going on. And so we're going to talk about how to manage all that. And like I said, that's free. You just have to register. And that's what I have coming up through the end of this year. And then yeah, I'll ramp up again in January with another workshop and just, yeah, I have client openings. So don't be afraid to make that booking.
Awesome. Liz, you are a great guest. I would definitely love to have you back on. I know you're going to, as I said, will be a guest on the Sowing Hope podcast.
Yes.
And that'll also be amazing. So Liz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anne.
And God bless everyone. We'll see you here next Friday at 8:30 on Journeys in Faith on Fiat Ministry Network.
Journeys of Faith is a production of Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry. For more information about Journeys of Faith, email info@fiatministrynetwork.tv. And be sure to friend, follow, and like us on social media. Just search Journeys in Faith with Anne DeSantis.